Let me start with you, Barrister Ajibola Oladele Kaka, talking to us from Alimosho. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. Let's start the discussion with you. What do you think about foreign mercenaries being deployed to help tackle the insecurity issues we have in this country?
Well, thank you very much. The call for foreign assistance has been on even before now, before the situation deteriorated to this level. However, we have to apply caution because we've seen instances whereby we have this foreign mercenary, instead of coming to assist truly, at the end, after the assistance, then they will want to explore all their opportunities by making sure that they sit on our economy and the negotiation that is on the kind of assistance they want to give to us military-wise, and then what will be their gain as well. Though many of them, like US, Great Britain, yes, we are partners when it comes to economic situation. But however, we all know that there can't be any form of assistance without any gain from them. I just hope that the situation will not be worse, more than what we are experiencing now. However, yes, we can ask them to come in, but now the situation is beyond, do I say beyond repair? Because we've allowed things to deteriorate to a certain level, because we don't know if they come in now, where are they going to use as their base? Is it Borno, Abuja, or Lagos? In Lagos, we know that we don't have enough space, so to speak. In Abuja, these people are already making incursion into major local government, major area, major cities in Abuja. And as such, how do we now tackle them? Then the problem again is that we've allowed them, our government have allowed them so much, they've given them, they've empowered them let me say empower them in a way, because if the bandits can be exporting, can be importing guns, ammunitions without being checked, and even in collaboration with our own security agencies, then it leaves much to be desired, because we don't know what the foreign mercenary, what they will actually be able to achieve with what we have on ground now. Because these people, they've so empowered themselves to the extent that even our own military, so to say, quote and unquote, cannot match them weapon for weapon. So it calls for caution, and we have to tread softly and address this issue critically before we invite them in. That is my take.
Okay, that's quite unfortunate. Thank you, Barrister Ajibola Oladele Kaka. Now we'll go over to Barrister Elvis Asia, who will be talking to us from Ilupeju, Lagos. Let's have your view on that.
Okay, thank you, Solomon. I think we have to be careful with the call for the use of mercenaries in the fight against Boko Haram. But unfortunately, we have placed ourselves in a position where we probably don't have much option on the table, having failed woefully to eradicate the menace of Boko Haram over the years. The call for the use of mercenaries, this is not the first time. If you recall, in 2014, South African mercenaries were engaged by the country to fight Boko Haram. Again, during the Civil War, you also recall that history records that both sides of the fight, both the Biafran side and the Nigerian side, they were, they engaged in mercenaries. There are so many, challenges with the use of mercenaries. Of course, you know that these guys are profit motivated, profit oriented, and so it will. I mean, it might create a problem of double crossing, and the fact that information might be leaked to the other side for gains. And then again, don't forget that Nigeria has international obligations, which is against the use of mercenaries in war. Both the African Union, I recall, I think in about the 1980s, there was a convention for elimination of the use of mercenaries, which Nigeria is signatory to. The other nations also have a convention, to that effect, which Nigeria has signed, but though has not ratified. So, in terms of our international obligations, it's against our international obligations to engage mercenaries, and there are so many dangers in doing so. Rather, what we should be looking at is to see how we can cooperate with other nations to assist in this fight. Because if you look at the dimension the fight is taking now, other countries of the world, particularly world powers, they too should also be concerned. Because this is not just going to be Nigeria. Because once you allow these criminal elements and terrorists to have a hold and a base in a diverse countries and a difficult terrain such as Nigeria, the chances are that they may begin to also launch international operations from here. I'm sure the international community will also be wary of that. So the call for use of mercenaries is quite dangerous, but it's understandable given the precarious situation we find ourselves. But I would rather say that we should invest in building diplomatic ties with other countries to see how we can enlist them to assist us to deal with this crisis, rather than using contractors in the form of mercenaries.
Now, if you recall the Jonathan administration that you rightly mentioned, brought in some mercenaries, and to some extent, it was successful. That the Buhari administration came in and said Boko Haram has been defeated. Technically, that's because of the mercenaries used by the Jonathan administration. And despite the saboteurs, of course, they came in and complained that because of the saboteurs in the military, it's been difficult for them to work. But they achieved something nonetheless, even with that,
Well, you are right. There was some momentum between 2014 and towards the tail end of the Jonathan administration, with the use of mercenaries. I won't dispute the fact that there were some movements in that regard. But the point is that you have to look at the general picture, and perhaps one of the reasons why a lot of so many countries internationally have not really invested much into assisting Nigeria. It's also perhaps because of this, our recourse to the use of mercenaries. Yes, you might. And then again, you also have to look at the peculiar situation that Jonathan found himself at that time. Most countries of the world were not ready to assist Nigeria with arms. In fact, the United States and other major powers were expressly blocking Nigeria's chances of getting arms and ammunition. And at that time, Jonathan, with the election approaching, Jonathan threw caution to the wind and invited mercenaries. But like I said, we have international obligations not to use mercenaries. Mercenaries can only be for something, it can only assist you on a short measure. It's a short measure kind of arrangement. It's not going to fight, it's not going to assist you on a long-term basis. But the Boko Haram war that I see now, with the various dimensions that's taken, with kidnapping, banditry, even as far as I'm concerned, I believe that these are all elements of the Boko Haram war. It's possible that they are trying to use banditry and kidnapping to fund their operations. We kind of, turn the Boko Haram war has taken. I don't see how the use of mercenaries is going to help us in the long term. And if we are now trying to source for the support of countries with experience and capability in dealing with issues such as what we have now, The use of mercenaries might also create a problem for us. And then again, you also have to understand what kind of mercenary involvement are we looking at? Every country of the world involved in a major regional war, they all, do contractors, to supply, make some certain supplies, give you certain information, assist you, for example, on how you can fly your planes and your jets to ensure that you are not shot down by the enemy. And so but what kind of mercenaries are you looking at? Are you looking at fighters, for example? Are you looking at bringing in fighters to Nigeria to join the army in the pursuit of Boko Haram? So again, it's neither here nor there. So my approach would be that, look, this is an international issue now. Let us, play in accordance with the rules, get other countries of the world to assist us. And, to the extent that we have international obligation to eliminate the use of mercenaries, it might also anger other countries that may want to help us. So, Jonathan was boxed into a corner. He had no choice at the time. But, now that other countries seems to be interested, I think we're better doing the right thing rather than engaging in this, because use of mercenary can just create a lot of problems. At the end of the day, it becomes business as usual. And one of the things that prolongs wars like what we have in Nigeria now is the profit motive of contractors, of mercenaries, of people who are supplying arms and ammunition on both sides, people who are providing information, intelligence on both sides. They are the ones that prolong the war. And if you go and look at your history, you will find out that there is a historical record that the civil war was prolonged because of the use of mercenaries.
Let me come back to you, Barrister Kaka. Now, Barrister Sarah just mentioned some of the disadvantages associated with hiring mercenaries. Do you agree with him? Does it trump bringing the mercenaries in to help us?
Well, you can observe that the two of us, we are speaking in the same direction. That we have to be very careful about the use of mercenary. In that, we have to apply caution because it may lead from one problem to the other, and it may prolong the situation. Now we are inviting external forces to come and be killing our people. And if, yes, we agree that those people they are coming to fight, yes, they are our problem. We should find a way, at least, to change them. But unfortunately, like I said, we've allowed things to actually get out of hand before we now start looking for solution. Now the solution is no longer in sight. We are not capable of curbing the situation. Now we are looking for external forces to come and assist us. As big as Nigeria is, giant of Africa, yes, in quote. However, with the use of mercenary, like my learned friend has said, many people will definitely want to profit from the use. Those that will be giving intelligent information, as you have said, those who will be selling ammunition, we all know quite well that these people that are coming to fight, they have enough ammunition at their disposal. How did they get this ammunition? Is it not this country? Then it shows that our security apparatus, our security system is porous. It's more or less that we are, the government, they are doing nothing to checkmate these people. Otherwise, it won't lead from just Boko Haram to banditry to what is it called again? To kidnapping. And now you can't even define what they are after. The mercenary, we want to invite them. How do we determine the extent of work that they are coming, or of assistance that they are coming to, to carry out? either only in providing intelligence, as my other friend said, or to fight the Boko Haram in a combatant manner. So we don't know, and we should be careful not to create further problem for the country, because by the time it starts now, you may discover that other countries may decide to join, because we don't know the undercurrents, that is behind this issue of Boko Haram and other insurgencies in the country. By the time we employ the mercenary now, you will see other countries coming up, and the fight will now become something that we may not be able to curtail. And the beginning we may know, the end we can never tell. So we have to be very careful and then look at the situation critically. Be on a round table.
Come back to you, Barrister. Now, both you and Barrister Kaka, mentioned some of the problems associated with mercenaries, which, from what both of you have said, profits, and these people may not know the terrain of the country, but we already have a lot of these issues already, like the profit. Right now, if informations, and indications are anything to go by, some persons, some Nigerians are profiting from the mayhem that Boko Haram and bandits, have showered on this country. And saboteurs from the military is another thing. Let's not talk about politics, a lot of politics and ethnic rivalry, that is involved, because some parts of the country are pointing the fingers to certain other parts of the country, saying it is their people that are doing this thing. So there's already political and ethnic rivalry, and there's already lots of killings going on in this country. So the situation is not getting any better. So I'm just saying this because of some of the disadvantages you guys are calling out to be why you may not subscribe to mercenaries. But we already have these issues, in spades already. I'm talking to you, Barrister Asia.
Well, you are right. People are already cashing in on the bad situation to make profit, but that doesn't mean we should endorse it. That doesn't mean we should wholesomely and expressly endorse it and make it the stock in trade in the system. And then don't forget that one of the challenges of the use of mercenaries is the fact that it degrades your army. It affects the morale of the army. Because the use of mercenaries is quite expensive. You are paying people so much money, and we live in a country where the rank and file of the military are complaining that the arms and ammunition they're using is grossly inadequate against Boko Haram's arms and ammunition.
Because we already have information that the morale of the army is already down, especially with the fact that they don't have half the ammunition that these insurgents have.
Yes, so deal with that kind of situation, to deal with the low morale, to deal with the ethnic crisis and the counter accusations across the country. You need a transparent process. Mercenaries are a very coded secretive process. There's no transparency, there's no accountability. You can't hold any mercenary responsible for anything. And so under that guise, they can do anything. And, they are for hire. So what you need is a transparent process. You need a government that understands the urgency of the situation. You need leadership to be able to come up with ideas and strategies that will appeal to the people. So use of mercenaries will just further further create the dark cloud hovering around the fight against Boko Haram. At this moment, what you need is a good cooperation with other countries and a transparent process, that everybody on both sides of the divide can see, and then begin to forge a common cause in the attempt to defeat Boko Haram. But when you now begin to use mercenaries, like we said, they are for hire. So they do whatever it is, whoever is paying them, ask them to do. And that will further create the problem of distrust in the system, which is really a big issue for us. because in a multi-diverse country such as Nigeria, having a common front in the fight against banditry, kidnapping, and Boko Haram is a challenge. And one of the major problem is lack of accountability, lack of transparency in the process. The use of mercenary further, creates that problem. It doesn't solve it. So what we need now is something that will help us to strengthen our army, strengthen the military. I believe the military have the capability to really fix this problem. But the challenge has been lack of political will, lack of transparency in the way our manner funds are being deployed for the fight. And so these are issues that we should be addressing. And we can get a formal, we can approach other nations formally to assist. Rather than using the back door. African countries seem to like this issue of mercenary because we are lazy. We are very lazy. We want the easy way out of every situation, and then we wait to find ourselves in a very difficult position, and then we don't have any more options. So I would not endorse the use of mercenaries any day. I would say that, of course, there are some things that mercenaries can do, but to get them as fighters, to be fighting for a country, in a country such as Nigeria with so many, where we have a lot of, it's a big country like Nigeria. So it doesn't solve the problem. Mercenary doesn't solve the problem of distrust in the system. It doesn't solve the problem of lack of morale in the military. What will solve that is a leadership system that will design an approach and a strategy that's transparent and is accountable.